Zimbabwe top journalist Blessed MHLANGA addressed the 2026 Geneva Summit for Human Rights. Let us take a look.
I want to thank you very much for having me here, and I'm humbled. For 25 years, I've been reporting on stories in Zimbabwe that others dared not to touch. That has been my work. But it was disrupted last year when the Zimbabwean regime sent me to 75 days of horror, a hell in pre-trial detention, for another man's speech. A speech made at a press conference that was broadcast at a TV station I work for. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the new face of repression in Zimbabwe, laced with sophistication. In the past, it was naked violence on the streets, abductions, and forced disappearances. This has changed. It is now violence committed through the legal system, what I call lawfare, violence by law. In February 2025, the regime arrested me and charged me with transmitting messages likely to incite violence, even though I had no involvement whatsoever in this alleged crime. I was denied bail three times, a violation of our constitution. The state deliberately misled the court, presenting redacted transcripts that were deliberately manipulated to support their allegations of violence and to keep me in prison without trial. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I sit in front of you, free but not free, without chains in my hands, but chains in my mind and pain in my heart. I was given bail. My passport was taken. Freedom to move or work taken away from me, and under bail conditions, crippling my finances. The regime punishes you through punishing your family. It hits your pockets to the extent that your children suffer. They know that you're strong, but they want to hurt those that you care about, so that you think twice before doing your work. Many, as the stories that have been told here, think Zimbabwe is turning the turn. It is becoming a democratic dispensation. I'm here to tell you that no, it has just become more sophisticated in its operation. Just yesterday, the government of Zimbabwe proposed new changes to the constitution. They want to increase the presidential term from 5 years to 7 and allow the president to appoint judges directly and an elected president appointing judges. For a president who promised to stick to the constitution and respect human rights, this attempt to extend terms, appoint judges without scrutiny, and steal voting rights from the people opens, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very dark door, which must scare the world, the UN, into action. Because when repression hides behind the law and hides behind sovereignty, the poor suffer, and they are forced to flee from their home, from their country as refugees, into your homes, and you call them illegal immigrants, and you push them out violently. But it is because of your silence that they have been pushed away from their homes that they love so much. I stand here. I will stay in Zimbabwe, regardless, because I believe in my country and I love it. We need international and diplomatic pressure and solidarity to protect the weak, to protect the poor, and to protect human rights, not only in Zimbabwe, but in all the other countries. I know that international pressure works, because it is this pressure from the UK, from the US, and from the EU, and my fellow Zimbabweans that secured my release on May 7. Fact is, Zimbabwe is not democratizing. The West is yet to come. And as a journalist, I will continue to tell the truth. Because journalism is all I know, and it's all I intend to do. Oppression in one country has consequences in all other countries. It breeds instability and destability to citizens whose country's democracy is working well. It is like COVID. It will spread to everyone. I thank you.
So this is a very powerful address from Dara Blessed MHLANGA, and he represented us well, especially the people who are speaking against this regime, the people who are taking journalism to make sure that people remain informed. When you're looking at ZBC, it's no longer serving its functions according to the laws, according to the functions, or according to the dictates of the laws. So what is left out are those independent journalists who are speaking out their minds and making sure that they hold the regime to account and making sure that people get undiluted information. That is very important. He speaks about that eloquently, and he highlights the repression which is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. What is very important to note is that he made an appeal to United Nations. Zimbabwe is a member to the United Nations and is bound by the rules, regulations of the United Nations. And he made this appeal that there is need to make sure that Zimbabwe is held accountable. The leaders in Zimbabwe are held accountable according to the United Nations Charter. So when you're looking at the issues which he highlighted, he was kept in prison without bail for a very long time. You know, they deny you justice, they make sure that they continue to repress you, and those are the issues which he highlighted. And as a journalist, he promised to continue fighting, he promised to continue doing his job without exceptions, and that is what we expected to hear from him. And he also highlighted the tactics which are used oftenly by the regime. They use your family to make sure that they scare you or you back down. They put your family in difficult circumstances, in difficult positions, simply to force you to do whatever they want, simply to force you into silence. And that is how this regime operates. So these are critical issues clearly raised by Dara Blessed MHLANGA, and we agree with him. As young people in the nation of Zimbabwe, as journalists and as political commentators, we wholly agree with him. The changes which are happening in the nation of Zimbabwe, they are unconstitutional and they must not see light of tomorrow. So this is very important, and thank you, Dara Blessed MHLANGA, for standing out and for making sure that you speak on our behalf. So this is something which you need to notice, the people of Zimbabwe, that you know, this speech, it was not out of emotions. It was a speech well prepared, well examined, and on point. So we are not free until we are free, and we continue to fight for change in the nation of Zimbabwe, not for our own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone in the nation of Zimbabwe. Freedom of expression and freedom of speech must be respected according to the constitution, but they've bastardized everything, making sure that they regulate and control how people are communicating, how people speak. I just want to acknowledge and thank everyone who came live with us both on Facebook and also on YouTube. I just want to acknowledge you. Mnyarazi, thank you very much for the contribution, as well as Frank, thank you very much for the contributions you put on this platform. I just want to thank everyone who is live with us right here. Let us meet in other episodes and other broadcasts as we continue to look at what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe.